Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Halimatun Saadiah binti Mustafa, and I am about to present my title, A Study of Multi-Perspective Panoramas for 2D Animation. Okay, let's go to the first introduction. About introduction, including animation using static two-dimensional artwork, it is often desirable to produce the illusion movement in three-dimensional space. The use of panorama as component as such construction opens the possibility of selectively revealing an illustrated scene in a way that simulates cinematic camera motion through space. The requirements on joining together compositions which are then revealed over time makes the design of this panorama unlike a typical illustration layout. So to illustrate the design, this layout present an analysis of sequence from animated films. They need to reconstruct background panoramas and camera movement to identify patterns in their design. The conclusion about the narrative purpose. These shots are used for and suggest some direction for exploration the use of multiple perspective layout in animation. Multi-perspective panorama has been proposed to reconstruct large environments. Unlike a conventional image, multi-perspective panorama capture parallax effects as each column of pixel is taken from a different perspective point. It has been shown that the imaging geometry to the first order consists of horizontal lines. On the other hand, multi-baseline stereo using several images has produced better depth map by averaging out noise and reducing ambiguities. Specific approach which more project multiple image onto a series of imaging surface also explore significant data redundancy for better reconstruction. Improve accuracy, the computation cost may become an issue. To generate multi-perspective panorama, the camera motion is constrained to planar concentric circle. A multi-perspective panorama is formed by selecting the same column from each of the original perspective image taken as different position along a circle. Multi-perspective panorama differ from conventional single perspective panorama is taken from a different optical center. The advantage of extracting depth from multi-perspective panorama is that it provides a 360-degree field of view. This wide field of view depth map enables the application of view interpolation between panoramas. In spite of this very wide field of view, adapting an existing stereo algorithm to multi-perspective panorama stereo is not difficult. So next to the problem statement. In multi-perspective panorama, there is something like cinematic and slow moving to set the tone for the park scene. But how to create the impression of camera motion through 3D space in a flat drawing by Highness 2003. So for my research objective, there is two. First is find out the extent if innovation of for multi-perspective panorama technology for 2D animation that has been achieved up to date. These studies will analyze the multi-perspective type of method that can be used in 2D animation. For research questions, among of the numbers research question for this research are about how far is the extent to which innovation for multi-perspective panorama technology for 2D animation that have been achieved up to date, and how many methods are available which can be used in 2D animation. Okay, for significance of research, the significance of this research is desirable to produce the illusion of movement in 3D space. The researcher hope that we can know and understand better more deeply about multi-perspective panorama. This research is also expected to give more information about what methods have been previous researchers using that provide improvement to facilitate the implementation into 2D animations. Okay. For the research scope and limitation, this research will only focus on multi-perspective panorama views from many researchers, trying to compile them to make it easy to understand. This research also will focus on what kind of method that has been built or way to put 3D or real-time multi-perspective panorama into flat drawing to the animation. Okay, for my literature review, multi-perspective could be defined as multiple view of a single scene that is taken from a different perspective. All these taken views are joined seamlessly to form an image that is coherent whole without discrete subsections. This idea have been realized in many different forms. For example, in Chinese landscape painting arts during Cubism and MC era, Escher has explored the idea of multi-perspective image, and these paintings did contain different focus or sub-image which are seamlessly joined. These paintings are like panoramas that are used for cartoon drawing and image resynthesis, as in discussed in his work High and Low by Escher 1992. In his work, has five different vanishing point: top left and right, center, bottom left and right. Okay. Multi-perspective panorama have been proposed to reconstruct large environments. Unlike conventional image, multi-perspective panorama capture parallax effect as each column pixel is taken from a different perspective point. It has been shown by H. Washam and Al-Szewski 1999 that the imaging geometry of multi-perspective panorama can be greatly simplified for the reconstruction, since the epipolar geometry to the first order consists the horizontal lines. Also, when space sweep approach, which project multiple image onto a series of imaging surface, usually known as planes, also explore the significant data redundancy for better reconstruction. Specific approach in general need to discretize the scene volume and therefore sampling strategies by D. Starshing 2002. Okay. First is distorted panorama. In providing a sense of presence and force in hand-drawn works such as in anime, manga, or any cartoons, expressions that are intentionally exaggerate perspective are often used. For example, like composition with shift vanishing points, and those that render will front side will appear larger as if like a close-up photograph that was captured with a wide-angle fisheye lens. This expression can be easily created with 2D illustration, but not in 3D CG, which is quite difficult to reproduce them. Thus, the technology for reproducing non-photorealistic exaggerate expression that drawn in animation work with 3D CG video is attracting significant attention by Katsura and Anjo 2007. In existing studies, participants typically focus on one technique only. Instead of providing all expressions technique employed in animation works, for example, like deforming a 3D model by Red Macher 1999, or adjusting only camera parameters by Usugi 2011. Okay, next is reflection on curved object. These are natural form of multi-perspective image. Computer graphic has long been interested in realistically rendering virtual scenes, including reflections. Research into generating reflection on curved object, especially for real-time graphics, showing how multi-perspective rendering can be implemented. However, the reflection on curved object are a subset of multi-perspective image. Moreover, they need not to be entirely accurate as long as they need look appropriate enough and form only a small portion for the screen. Multi-perspective image for visualization have different accuracy requirement and take up more of the screen. Also, ray tracing is the most straight on direct way to render reflection from curved surface. When a ray intersects a reflective surface, it's bound off in a direction determined by the angle of intersection with the surface. The reflection that drawn this manner are quite accurate, not for ray tracing, which tend to be very slow. Various methods exist for accelerating the ray tracing. This method range from reducing the number of ray surface intersection tests with hierarchical space subdivision to parallelizing the calculation without massively parallel hardware. It seems unlikely real-time ray tracing that might will be achieved soon, but the problem is discussed in Janssen 1993. Okay, for my research design, the proposed study, the scope is to describe the concept, types, or multi-perspective methods that can be used in generating from real-time scenes into animations such as distorted panoramas and reflection on curve like in nature, art, and visualization. Like I explained earlier. Okay, for the inquiry method of this research, I use interpretive method, which means we'll collect the data from many sources like any legal article, journals, book, and documentaries. Okay, qualitative will be used in this type of research, which involve collecting and analyzing numerical data for statistical analysis. This qualitative research is commonly used in humanities and social science in subjects such as anthropology, sociology, education, history, and health science. So that's all my presentation for this research proposal, and thank you.